Thanks for meeting with me today, Chris.
You're quite welcome.
What made you decide to join SGA?
Well, the freshman picnic, just walking through, and a great man by the name of Andrew Dimpy Wolf comes up and just hands me a card with one of those little cool little scanners on it. He's like, "Hey, you should definitely consider coming out and join SGA, be leader on campus." I'm like, "Okay." First didn't think anything much of it, and I checked out the website and saw what they were doing. I'm like, this looks like it could be some fun. So decided to go and apply, and that's kind of how it started.
Tell me about the time when you decided to run for student government president.
When I decided to run, well, actually was much later than what people would expect. It first started out with just people assuming I was going to run, where they'd ask as far as the VP if I had made a selection. I was like, "Oh no," because I haven't exactly decided if I'm doing anything. And when I really decided I was going to run, I was talking to my vice president, who ended up becoming vice president, Reed T-Vault, and some ideas that we could have to better the campus and would be a good fit to go forward. And once I knew I had him on board with that, I knew it would be a great pair to go into office.
And was there anything after you won that election the next year, was there anything during that year that you decided, like, I should have done differently?
Well, through my presidency overall, no, yeah, there's always things where you look back and think, you could have handled the situation differently, or maybe should have went this route other than that. But that's life. Was there anything major? No, besides doubting yourself. That's probably the one thing I would change. Once you begin to doubt yourself and your own confidence, that's when you become a shaky leader, and you cannot do that. Any signs of weaknesses, hurts your credibility in any way.
And tell me, you were really busy during that year. How did that affect school? How
was
balance that?
How does anyone balance that? That is such a great question. When it came to that second semester, there's so much going on. We're looking for a new president, all my personal issues. It was rough. It was tough. Definitely I made some sacrifices when it came to classes. But the thing about this is the thing about Fort Hays is you can get involved in anything. It's that size of campus. Everyone has an opportunity to go out and show themselves and their interest. The thing is, when you get too involved, you have to be wary of that, because it's really hard to say no. And if you're really involved, well, if you're involved, you're really involved usually. So I'd advise to other people is to learn how to balance that act, and try not to over-assert themselves.
Tell me about the night of February 16th.
Man, what to tell? It's kind of a paradox that it was probably one of the most fun nights I've ever had. It was such a great time celebrating a friend's birthday, and so much fun within that, and to get home and it's a great night up to when I came home, and and I was met at the door by my roommate at the time. Her name was Errol Janie, and she wasn't very happy that I didn't take her out with her, because I don't take her out. I wouldn't assume why, because just a roommate. But she had aspirations to be more. She was upset, and she's a little bit drunk at this time, because she thought that we were both going to go out and stuff, but I left behind to go to the birthday party. It's an invite-only thing, but she was upset and got jealous, assuming that I was going around doing causing mischief, and my argument back to her was, well, why would it even matter? And she had taken a swing at me, and during physical confrontation, the mistake I made was just not walking away right when I came inside. That was my fault, but there's nothing that would happen besides her attempting to swing at me. The next day, I wake up, she's waking me up in my bed, and she says, "You need to pay me back the rent money that I've paid so far for living here. Otherwise, I'm going to call the cops." And I just woke up, not gonna lie, kind of hungover at this moment, and just like, what? Yeah, go ahead. And she said, no, for domestic battery. I'm like, yeah, you go right along, go ahead and do that. Turns out she really did call the cops, made a story, and then I was arrested. That's how that ended up. Domestic battery is a very serious issue, and I'm going to just be accused of it. It's just kind of tough to go through, but.
So you were at that point charged with domestic battery?
Actually, I was arrested. I wasn't charged for some time. I was arrested for it, and then they're viewing the case, and wasn't charged for some time after that. What began my demise was the DUI that I've got. So.
And tell me about that night, about the DUI night.
Okay, well, incredibly irresponsible and a stupid decision. Regret it 100%. I knew better. The irony of it all is I had a great friend who, months before, somewhere outside, and was talking to me about drinking and driving, and warned me, about it. And I didn't take her advice. I should have. But I put others at risk. Should have never done that. There's no excuse for it. And still, it's not feeling sorry for yourself, but I haven't exactly forgave myself, though.
What made you decide to run for president again?
Hey, what? Well, obviously it's before the UI. I wasn't done with finishing out the agenda. I thought there was much more. It was a great start. This year was, during Student Organization Awards, won Most Improved Organization, and that wasn't by accident. We made great strides to help out the students and make life just a little bit better. And there's a whole second part to that, and that's why I felt like I wasn't done yet. at that point, helping out.
And this was after the battery was done and everything, correct?
Well, at that point, there was still kind of going through the motions through that. There, you know, the battery case that, you know, never really sprung back up again until after the DUI, because then that just kind of gave them some.
You were arrested May 2nd.
Yes, man. So, talking about the strangest turning events through a semester. Actually sitting at the office, and I had Hal come down and let me know there was a warrant for my arrest. I thought he was kidding. He definitely was not. Chief Hal does not kid very often. That's learned. No, that was a point where once I got the DUI, I hired an attorney for both cases. Great guy who helped me through, but he was going through, and what had apparently happened was just some sent my next court appearance to them, and I didn't know. And so what had happened was I had a bench warrant to come into court to face the judge, and kind of hard to go when you don't know you have to go.
Were you arrested on school property?
Yeah, by Chief Hal. He drove me over and went in and then faced the judge, and then let me go as if nothing had ever happened.
Tell me about the election, what the process was.
Well, the process that was, I was running a campaign. That's my focus. That was my focus during that time. It was the Senate's responsibility. Senate Affairs form a committee, and when they didn't do it in the proper amount of time, it states within there anyone who's not running is to be on the elections committee. And when it comes to election processes and stuff, it's on the committee. And were there things that could have and should have went better? Yes. But it was a learning process for all of them, and how all that turned out. So.
What made you decide to choose Erin Powers as your VP?
You know, she has some great tenacity, and was a go-getter. She's an achiever and a proven leader. Through her time at Tigers in Service, when I was working on the big event while I was Legislative Affairs Director, it was the first time I really got to work with Erin, and just working with her through that process showed me what kind of person she was, and I thought she was the best candidate for my position, or to be honest, or to take over presidency if anything were to ever happened. You have to have someone who's able to fill those shoes as vice president. That's why you run as a ticket. So.
And picking a woman as a VP had nothing to do with a battery charge?
No, not one bit. Not one bit. I had many options to choose my VP, surprisingly, even after, the arrest, the arrest for domestic battery. I had quite a few people, but I feel like I made the right decision, and she's going to do great moving forward.
And after you won, you did not get inaugurated as the president. You stayed back.
That I did.
Tell me about that.
I chose under the current circumstances to not be inaugurated, because I was not sure. I was more leaning towards I would not be president than I would be president for the upcoming year. And I didn't think it was appropriate if I were to be sworn in at the time, but it's funny because, you know, getting sworn in just right after that arrest, and you know, I did not feel it was appropriate, and especially to hold the integrity of the office, to be sworn in, but I didn't feel like it was appropriate to resign either at that time.
Why not? Why didn't you resign then after the second arrest?
Well, I didn't resign because I chose not to take. By not being inaugurated, I chose not to continue being president after June 1st to relieve my duties. But I didn't resign right then and there because I was going to finish out my term. I had maybe 15 days left, maybe a little more within the term, and so that's the path I chose.
Now, during the year when you got up and said your apologies, you said that the Kelly Center was a great way to get help. Are you getting that help?
Well, Kelly Center is a great resource for anyone, and I don't know if I'd go on as far as much apologies. So I do get an evaluation, as I did, and I've taken it one step at a time. You know, you have to be able to hold yourself up personally before you hold up the world. And you know, at that point in time, just trying to make sure doing what's best for me, and make sure moving forward the best way I can.
Now, July 21st, you had a hearing. Tell me what you were convicted of.
I actually didn't have a hearing. So what happened was, you know, it's me and the attorney, and we were deciding how to go about the case, and the prosecutor laid out a disorderly conduct plea bargain where it'd be $200 total in the fines, and then it's over, it's done. Or the other option was continue moving forward, and jury trial costing right around $10,000. If you haven't noticed, kind of college kid and not exactly making a ton of money. And without, if I was going to continue in the role of president stuff, I would have decided to go ahead and fight it and then just be in a ridiculous amount of debt forever. But the best decision for me was to plead no contest to the disorderly conduct and be done with everything, and you know, from the DUI, everything, and so that's what happened. You know,
do you have to attend batter's intervention?
Evaluation is part of the agreement, is evaluation, whether to go through that process or not. So.
And have you gone through it yet?
That evaluation hasn't been made available yet. So when that happens, and they say I'm a high risk to do it, then whatever they recommend, then I do. If they recommend, no, that I'm fine, ordinary kid, then I'm not going to go through that process. So.
Are you currently a student right now?
No.
So you're taking the semester off.
Yeah.
Are you going to come back next semester?
No. It kind of depends. I'd like to, but all of it depends on where I'm at. You know, I said before, it was one thing to loathe and self-pity, but you have to be able to forgive yourself. I'll continue going through it. I never hit her or did anything that, and at all. But the problem is, when I got the DUI, I let so many people down. So many people. Even lost friendships over it, and because they're hurt, because they had a lot of faith and trust in me, and that's what bothers me, is just letting everyone down. It's not going through the arrest or anything. I know I've done, but it's more of letting everyone down.
So are you going to stay here in Hayes, or are you going to move back to Salina?
Man, get very personal here. I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm taking it one step at a time, and
where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Time.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.